Hello, my literary luminaries, and welcome back to Thursday. Not a top 5 Thursday, as I said at the end of my last video, because this week's top 5 Thursday topic was book theme songs. And much like quotes, while I'm sure books have theme songs in my head, I can't exactly think of any right now. So, instead, as you can tell, by the thumbnail and by the title of the video and all those really obvious things, I'm doing a book tag, and this one appeals to me because I am a gamer. I use that term lightly, and I am doing the Nintendo book tag. As always, you will find a link to the original video that I got this from down in the description below. But let's get started with the questions. Number 1, the NES, the Nintendo Entertainment System, a classic you want to read. This one, I'm not actually sure if I've read the entire book or not. I know I own it, and I know I started reading it. So it's going on here, and that's Dracula by Bram Stoker. I remember starting this. I had borrowed, I think, my mother's copy of it, and I have a memory of reading it, like, in a doctor's office with my cousin. But I don't know if I ever finished it. I really want to, though, so... Number 2, the SNES, the Super Nintendo, a sequel you liked better than the first, or rather the second book in a series that you liked better than the first. That one for me, this was a weird one because I couldn't think of one for a long time, but I chose Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets, simply because, not because of anything that has to do with the first book, but more I liked the second book because I was already established in the world at that point. And so I knew a little bit more. Less of the book was spent going, oh god, who are these people? What am I thinking? What? I already knew the world, so I could just enjoy it straight out a bit better than the first one. But that was a hard one. Number 3, the Nintendo 64, a book that revolutionized the way you look at the world. Wow. What? I think in some way every book I read, changes the way I look at things a little bit, but the one that I really remember blowing me out of the water is the first Chronicles of Amber book, Nine Princes in Amber, because the concept of shadow worlds and the infinite variations between Amber and Chaos has always been something that really, stood out to me, that spoke to me right from the very beginning. And I've actually seen science articles that claim that that might actually be true. So hey, that's awesome. Number 4, the Gamecube, a popular book that did not go over so well with you. I liked the Gamecube. I had a Gamecube. Simply based on Goodreads ratings that I've seen for this, I'm choosing The Testing by Joel Charbonneau. I got that name wrong. Joel Charbonneau? I'm not sure, honestly. But yeah, no, The Testing. I hated The Testing a lot. I got an arc of it from NetGalley, I believe, and I think if you go back, I believe I gave it 2 stars. I'm not entirely sure what bumped it up from 1, honestly. To me, it's always been a cheap knockoff of The Hunger Games. Like, straight up to the way they talk and the things that they say. It's just set in a school. I've never been a big fan of it, but it's got, a 4-star average rating on Goodreads. I don't understand how it got that. I have never liked it. I got an email from NetGalley when the second book in the series came out, and they're like, you read the first one, you should read this one. And I laughed at my screen. There are 3 books at least now. I don't get it. Number 5, The Wii, a new favorite book. Though, honestly, the Wii is not exactly new anymore. Maybe the Wii U? I don't know. And I'm cheating and I'm picking 2 of these because they are part of a series. And actually, the 3rd book just came out, and probably by the time you're by the time you're seeing this video, I will have already read the 3rd book. But I am choosing The Fate and the Reaper, who are the first 2 books in the Children of Wisdom series by Stephanie Erickson. I love these books, and if you've seen me on Twitter, you have seen that I love them. I've been tweeting madly at Stephanie Erickson about them. They're really, really fantastic books. I love the balance they have between, sort of the classic Christian components, the angels and fates and all that, the mythological aspect of it and all the new stuff. I think Stephanie's a fantastic author. I love these books. I'm super excited about them. And I'm really excited about The Human. And I would say more, but I haven't read it yet. But when you see this, I have. So, the dangers of recording in advance. Number 6. I lost my place. Nintendo Power, a favorite graphic novel series or a series you want to start. This is not a series to my knowledge, but I'm not, as strange as it is, I'm not really into graphic novels all that much. I do read some manga, and I could probably have counted those, but I want to read the graphic novel of V for Vendetta, because I love that movie so much, and I'm really interested to see what the graphic novel version of it was, so that's going to have to count for y'all. Number 7, Super Mario. A character that you'd like to squish like a Goomba. Weber from the Children of Wisdom series. The Weaver. I don't like him. And I can't say anything about him because they're all spoilers. I hate Weber. I hate Weber so much. Number 8, Zelda, a newer fantasy that you consider to be a modern classic. This really doesn't come as much surprise, I think, to anyone, probably. I'm gonna choose A Song of Ice and Fire. It reminds me a lot of the big classics from before. I can see it lasting a really long time, for no other reason than it's taking forever to write. I know they're super controversial, I know a lot of people don't like them, but in many cases, that's what I've seen said about the classics. So, I think this is a big thing, I think it's gonna remain a big thing. One of these days, I'm actually gonna read all the books. 9, Samus Aran, or, the main character from Metroid. The favorite sci-fi novel or one that you want to read. This one's probably my favorite sci-fi novel because it doesn't really look like a sci-fi novel from the front, and that's Callahan's Crosstime Saloon, which I should have mentioned like 6 other times and have managed to conveniently forget. Callahan's is also another contender from, the one from earlier about revolutionizing the way you look at the world. I love Callahan's. I always have. I read it the first time when I was probably in middle school. I just recently read the first one, because it's a whole long series. I read the first one again recently. I love Callahan's. It's wonderful, and it's a sci-fi book that it's not sci-fi until you really look at it and you're like, oh wait, you're an alien, aren't you? You're a time traveler. What exactly is happening here? It looks like everyday life, but it's sci-fi, and I think a lot of sci-fi tries to do that and doesn't quite make it, but Callahan's does it fantastically. Number 10, Pokemon, book editions that you'd like to collect. This is weird because I'm a big Pokemon kid. I don't really collect book editions, but the one that I'm going to choose for this is editions of the Prince's Game books for MCA Hogarth, because I know she has an original set of art, at least for the first one, and then recently has redone it in her own art style. I'd love to have copies of all of them, honestly. I'd love to have copies of anything that she's written. I'm sure you're all shocked. But that's probably the only one, and I know there's not a ton of different ones. I've probably forgot ones. Whoops. Micah gets to win that one. Number 11, Donkey Kong, a book with original characters. I don't believe there is one. I spent a lot of time thinking about this one. I went through and looked at all my Goodreads. I looked at my bookshelves. It's just so difficult to have truly original characters anymore that I can't really think of one. I mean, my high school art teacher always said that there's only 7 plot lines in the world. There's only 7 concepts. Everything else is a variation on them. If I was really pushed, yes, I could probably come up with one, but honestly, I would be fishing. I don't think they're original characters anymore. There's just not. And finally, number 12. Nintendo Fandom. Your favorite Nintendo game or games, or a game you really want. In the version of Want, I actually own one, I just haven't played it yet, and that's one of the Fire Emblem games. I would really like to get into that series, but as it stands, the Nintendo games that win for me are Pokemon and Animal Crossing. I know Animal Crossing is super simple and kind of like, Ryan, why are you choosing that one? I love KK Slider. He makes Animal Crossing win. I'm sorry. I love KK Slider. Love KK Slider. And Pokemon really got me into gaming. I mean, I'm always going to be a Pokemon kid. I'm really behind on the series and I haven't played all of them, but I love them. I'd love to own all of them. I'd love to play all of them. I'm not really good at it, but Pokemon's always going to have a soft spot in my heart. Those are my answers for the Nintendo book tag. If you'd like to do it, tag, you're it. You can do them. I'm bad at tagging people, and I'm always really late to this game. So let me know, what are some of your ideas? Either do your own tag and let me know where to, or you can just let me know down in the comments below. As always, I'd love to hear from you. And you can always find me on Twitter at KRyanFrey. I love to talk to people there. If you like the video, be sure to give it a thumbs up. And if you're new around here, why not subscribe? I post videos every Tuesday and Thursday, and that'll make sure that you know when they come out. But as always, I will see you again on Tuesday for another Tuesday Talks. Bye! Hello, my literary... In any event, simply basic which are part of the children... Jesus. Blah.